Ooh, Palantir, baby. Palantir with another amazing day today. Big news. All right, they had the contract win. Just won another contract, and the stock is just performing very well. So we're gonna compare it to the QQQ, to the Nasdaq 100, to the S&P 500, and also to the semiconductors, right? I mean, AI has really been the wave, but chip stocks are the ones that are really taking the spotlight. Meanwhile, Palantir has been outperforming the semiconductor industry, right? So we'll take a look at that. We'll look at a ratio chart here of Palantir to the S&P 500, and we can see massive relative strength here as of recently. Now we're coming up to a key zone, and we're going to see if that outperformance from Palantir relative to the S&P 500 can continue, and if it does, what that potentially means for the stock price, right? And we'll do so by taking a look at a monthly chart time frame, right? And then zooming into a weekly chart time frame, and then zooming down a little bit more to a daily chart time frame, right? We've got a nice patterns, nice bullish patterns on really all of the charts. And so we're going to just do a little bit of a deep dive on a technical analysis on Palantir. Definitely one of my favorite stocks to trade. I know lots of people really love this stock and are long-term holders of it. I'm much more of a trader. And so we're just going to go over some of the key levels and how I think it can potentially head up to 30 is going to be our next price target on Palantir. So excited for that one. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. I do want to mention some things about energy. Okay. And so we're going to break down this chart a little bit more and later in the video, and I'll explain what's going on with it. But as always, the content provided on this channel is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to be relied upon as legal, financial, or investment advice. So be sure to read through the disclaimer. And if you're new to the channel, I actually started a completely free newsletter for you guys called Investment Intelligence, giving out free valuable finance and trading content related to the markets. And I also try to sprinkle in a free trade idea every single week. And these are what the trade ideas will look like. Okay, highlighting everything that I'm looking at on the chart and all of the conditions. This way, you guys can understand what it is and what the high quality setups that I'm looking for, and how I establish those high quality setups. Now, there is a website associated with the newsletter, so you guys can go back and check out some of the previous newsletters that have been sent out. It's kind of in blog format. So if you want those sent directly to your inbox, you can sign up for it using the link in the description, or you guys can just check out the website. Either or is fine. And if you want to join the Investment Intelligence Discord, it's only $10 a month. There's a link in the description for that as well. And this is where you get full access to all my different analysis, all my different trade ideas. I post over 20 different swing trade ideas a week in there. And then I also go all over all of the day trade setups that I'm looking for. I've got custom scripts and indicators for the day trading strategy that I use to make it easier for beginners. And there's many other valuable resources inside of there, such as being able to see dark pool levels or gamma levels for the stocks like Palantir, even, right? Or some of your other favorite stocks. So, sign up for those. The links is in the description for both of those. And we'll go ahead and get into the video here. And since the October 2023 lows, I'm sorry, October 2022 lows, we've seen a huge, massive outperformance from Palantir. Okay, and so we've got Palantir here in orange, up over 220% from those October 2022 lows, from the bear market lows. And you can see the stocks, right? This is your semiconductor ETF really outperforming the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 here as well, up almost 120%. And then you've got the Nasdaq up about 65% and the S&P up about 40%. So as I mentioned before, chip stocks and semiconductors have really been stealing the limelight when it comes to the AI wave. Now, the AI hype wave is, the next big thing, right? And it's what's got everyone's attention. And somehow Palantir is still being swept under the rug and doesn't really get the attention that it deserves. Now, we're not going to dive too much into the fundamentals on them. They just had another really good earnings. You can check out their earnings reports. Their earnings, the fundamentals look great for Palantir, and it looks like they're going to continue growing, which is really nice. And when you take a look at the relative performance related to the S&P 500, right? So this is a Palantir divided by SPY chart. So when this is going down, it means that Palantir is underperforming the S&P. And when this is going up, you can see that it's actually outperforming the S&P 500. And so you can see here that this chart bottoms here at the end of 2022, and we've seen a massive outperformance in Palantir relative to the stock market measured by the SPY ever since 2023. And we're seeing that massive outperformance continue here. And, we're coming up to a key zone here. So, it's really going to be interesting to see, does Palantir have enough juice in the tank, right? Is there enough room left to run and really continue outperforming the S&P 500? I mean, we really just have to get above this little zone here. And then it's blue sky territory in terms of outperformance for Palantir relative to the S&P 500. So when we go and we actually break down the actual chart, right, it's very important to take a look at the larger time frames, right? And then you want to zoom down, okay? You want to get the bigger picture. Now, one of the most famous sayings, all right, and one of the oldest sayings is, the larger the base, right, the larger it rips in your face. Okay. And look at this huge multi-year base that we have. And Palantir is finally breaking out, and we're coming back and retesting some key levels that we really haven't been able to get above for years. Okay. And, we've got this huge base now. We've got a huge, massive, candlestick right here. I mean, look at this monthly candlestick. It's just absolutely insane. If you take a look at a similar candlestick, look what happened last time, right? We saw a little bit of a consolidation candlestick, which is what we're kind of setting up in right now. And things may things may look really good for Palantir. Okay. And really, we just need to break above this 26 to 28 zone. All right. Above there, that is going to be our overhead supply. Okay. So when you see this shaded area on the next charts, it's basically 26 to $28. Above there, the next target is $30. Now, above $30, that's when things get really, really juicy for Palantir. Okay. There is overhead supply over here, but there's very weak structure. There's very weak candlestick structure, and it's going to be thin structure. And it's very possible that Palantir can trade through those levels very quickly. But the first thing we've got to do is come up to 30 and be able to break out past 30. So when we look at a weekly time frame, what does the weekly chart look like? Okay. And we'll take a look here. And what do we see? Well, we see that, hey, we've got this level here, right? That was initially support. Then it turned into resistance, and it turned into resistance, and it turned into resistance. So, does a little bit of a check back in Palantir here make sense? Is it the end of the world? No, it's not the end of the world. And yes, it would make a little sense. You can see we rejected there, right? And we started to pull back a little bit. But the question is, do we get sideways consolidation to continue heading higher within this bullish channel? Because if you take a look here, you can also see that, we went over the top trend line here, but on the bottom, we've got support tested twice here, support tested here again. All right. And we've got this very, very nice bullish channel that we're trading in. Okay. And price is just, steadily moving in between here, right? This is very much a buying algorithm here at the moment. And now that we're at the top of the buying algorithm, it makes a lot of sense to see perhaps a little bit of algorithmic selling. Now, what you want to look for are going to be a few things. Okay. You want to see, hey, can we actually blow off from here and retest this trend line and push higher? That's going to be extremely bullish in the short term. Okay, so that's one thing that you want to look for. Number two, we kind of already mentioned, is just some sideways consolidation, right? Maybe we chop in between this 23 to 26 area. We consolidate a little bit, and on a weekly time frame, put in a weekly bull flag, hopefully looking for a breakout, sending us up to that $30 price target. Okay, now number three is going to be a check back. Okay, and so let's say, hey, the overall market goes in a corrective phase, right? And Palantir is not able to escape that corrective phase. Well, then it's very possible that we check back down to this $20.84 level. Let's just call it 21. Now, we may not come all the way down to 21. We may move sideways and come back and retest this trend line. I think that if we were to meet the bottom of this trend line and support here as well, that'll be a really, really easy area for you to put on a trade and manage your risk very, very well, with the stop just below there, maybe at $20, looking to see if we bounce off of that level and also off of that trend line again for a move up to $30. Now, given that we have recent news, we've got a recent catalyst behind it with the news contract And also just kind of running off of the still going off of the earnings news and the earnings catalyst it had. If we take a look here, this is very clearly, in my opinion, a breakaway gap or a runaway gap, right? And so what do we mean by that? Well, here's the earnings, here's the candle before earnings, and then we've got this huge gap up here that we created. And we didn't get an exhaustion gap, which would have been a reversal, right? And us coming back down to fill that gap. We did not get that. Okay, we got a runaway gap. And now what have we done? Well, we've consolidated. And take a look. We've got a pie in the sky head and shoulders, right? We've got a left shoulder here. We've got a head, and then we've got a right shoulder. And we just broke our neckline today, guys. So again, reinforcing the theory that Palantir can head up, right? This is that $30 price target level. Now, is it going to be smooth sailing? No. We know that we've got this overhead supply from $26 to $28 that's going to be big resistance, right? It was lots of resistance in the past when we looked at that monthly chart. There was lots of supply there, and we kept selling off in that area. So it is going to be somewhere that we fight with. But if we can break out from this area, flip 28 to support, that's a really good case for us to head up to that $30 price target. Not only that, but we do have our inverse head and shoulders set up here. So if you're looking to play something now, you're looking to get in, it's still relatively easy to manage your risk, right? Let's say, you don't want to see a look above and fail, right? And so you don't want to see a false breakout where we actually come back down within the range. That's going to be bearish. And that means that most likely we're going to come back and retest some of the lows just above $22. So if we can maintain above 25.53, and let's say you just put a stop loss just below there, somewhere around here, maybe $25, okay, and then you're targeting the top of this zone, that's a very good risk to reward ratio. Or if you're targeting that $30 price target level, right? I mean, when we talk about the risk, right, you're risking essentially this much to potentially make this much right here. So that's close to about a 2-to-1 ratio. Or if you're looking for the larger move, you're risking this much here to potentially make this much here. That's almost a 3-to-1 or a 4-to-1 ratio. I'm not looking at the exact numbers right now, but that is something that's very, very favorable, right? And so, you can come in here and you can define your risk very well with Palantir at the moment. You see a pattern breakout, you see the inverse head and shoulders breakout, that we now have a news catalyst behind it. And now we just need to see if bulls can follow through on Palantir and continue to push price higher. If not, we know that it could turn into a false breakout to the upside. And so we just want to manage our risk if we're in any short-term long positions with that 25.53 level, knowing that that initially is our neckline for that inverse head and shoulders, and that we really need to stay above there. And if we can keep that momentum, we could see 30, by the end of the month, if not potentially even sooner. So really excited for Palantir and what it's got in store. We're going to see how it can continue, and what is really going to happen the rest of this month and over the coming weeks with Palantir. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts down below. Is there any news that you guys think is about to drop, or any news that has dropped recently that you think can really continue to propel Palantir higher? I try to read all the comments, so feel free to leave me a comment down below. And last but not least, I do want to mention energy. Okay. Tech, right? Palantir is tech, all right? And at the end of the day, tech and energy do tend to have a little bit of an inverse relationship. And so I'm bringing up energy because it's very possible that energy is trying to bottom here, and we could actually potentially see energy break out. And so I want to present you guys the question, are you prepared for that, right? Or is your portfolio prepared for that? And, maybe do you have enough energy in there, right? If you don't have any energy, it is a good hedge, in my opinion. Okay. Now, that's not to say that tech is going to crash and energy is going to go to the moon. But, if energy does break out here, and if we take a look, what we're looking at is the XLE SPY ratio chart in yellow, and then the USO SPY ratio chart in white. And both of these look like they're bottoming, right? You can see the previous bottoming pattern here resulted in an outperformance in energy and oil. And, it looks like they're both trying to bottom again and could potentially be trying to break out. So if they break out, I want you to ask yourself, hey, am I prepared for this, right? Is my portfolio prepared for this? Do I have any energy exposure, or what would my portfolio look like if energy was to break out? Now, my next newsletter that I'm dropping is actually going to be on this subject. This is a chart that I've been sharing with a lot of the Discord members for the past week or two, and also the top energy stocks that I'm looking at. Okay, so if you want to know more of my thoughts on this whole energy situation and some of the individual names that I'm actually looking at within the energy and oil sectors, then go ahead and sign up for that newsletter. Okay, it's completely free. You can join up for the Discord. That's only $10 a month. That's where you get access to all the different analysis, all the different trade ideas that I'm looking at the moment. Before you sign up for the newsletter, feel free, welcome. You're welcome to just, check out the website, go through it and review some of the old newsletters and see, hey, is this something that I want being sent to my inbox every single week? You don't have to worry about me spamming you. Okay, I'm not looking to send you 5 to 10 different penny stock trade ideas every single day and then brag about one of them that moons. Rather, I really just look for high quality setups whenever providing any of my trade ideas. And then I also just try to provide some good perspective, whether it's a market perspective, like this energy one that I'm about to write, or whether it's just some general finance or trading content. I do try to make it worthy, and that way it doesn't feel like spam to you guys. So I appreciate it if you guys would sign up for the newsletter and join the Discord. One's free, one's $10 a month. For the value you get, they're both really a great value regardless of any price points. And if you enjoyed today's analysis and you ever want to do a one-on-one coaching session, you can come to my Ko-Fi page. There's a link in the description for that as well. You click on this commissions tab here, and in there you can actually book a 30-minute or you can book a 1-hour session. All of the Discord members do get 20% off of those coaching sessions. So, I've been doing a few coaching sessions with some of the Discord members. And in there, we can go over day trading dynamics, swing trading strategies, interactive Q&A. Maybe you want to learn about options. I know a lot of people deal with me and have a lot of questions about options and different ways you can leverage the shares that you own to get, in a sense, free hedges and different things like that. There's also this buy a coffee button. It's basically a way to leave a tip or donation for all the free valuable content I do put out, such as the newsletter and these YouTube videos, kind of a way as leaving a little thank you or something like that. So appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed today's video, most likely you're really going to enjoy this next video here as well. So be sure to click on that one.